Hello there, and a very warm welcome to this latest episode of the World Cricket Chat, where we will be previewing and predicting in the end the first Test match between India and Australia that will be played from February 23rd in Pune. I have with me Shruti Chopra, who is a cricket fan first and foremost, and is also a tarot reader. Hi, Shruti, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sunil. Thank you so much.
How has your day been after that mega auction that was held yesterday?
Well, I'm just a little tired now from all this discussion on players. I'm just looking forward for the IPL to just begin.
Yes, the IPL begins in the first week of April, but what begins before that is the first Test match between India and Australia, and that is what we're going to be talking about right now. Speaking about India, we know the kind of form that they have been, especially in the Test match arena. They are on a 19 match unbeaten streak that goes all the way back to the 2015 series against Sri Lanka, where they had lost the first Test match and then went on to win the next two before they beat South Africa at home, beat West Indies in West Indies 2-0, overcame New Zealand in India 3-0, beat England 4-0 after that draw in the first Test match, and then that one-off win against Bangladesh. In all these Test matches, and especially in those Test matches at home, the closest that India came to being tested was in that first Test match against England in Rajkot, where the pitch was not very Indian, so to say, in nature, and England did have an outside chance, but Alistair Cook muffed it up. Moving back to this Test match, Shruti, having seen India do so well in this home season, what do the cards reveal? How do they start off in this series against Australia?
Sunil, I'll begin with India's batting in the first innings. It's aggressive, but they also know when to consolidate. And that's probably something the middle order may need to do, to just stay put and not give in. The bowlers maintain consistency and control. There will be small patches where Australia's batsmen may appear dominant, but those seem short-lived. But fielding does not seem up to scratch. And then, just strangely, towards the end, it could almost be flawless, as if nothing was ever wrong.
Interesting that you speak about the Indian opening and the middle, especially when it comes to batting. It's been somewhat of an Achilles heel for India in the last few Test matches when it comes to their openers. They have been trying a lot of openers, and not all of it has to do with form. There have been a lot of injury issues as well. There was Murli Vijay and Shikhar Dhawan who seemed to have sealed the deal a couple of years back, but then since then, because of those injuries, we have seen KL Rahul take up that spot. Pujara has opened in a Test match or two. We have seen Gautam Gambhir being recalled, if I'm not wrong, in one Test match or a couple of Test matches, and even Partha Patel that we saw. Who came in place of Vridhman Saha, kept wickets and opened the innings. And now we have Abhinav Mukund in the squad. He was in the squad for the Bangladesh Test match as well, and he's in the squad for the first two Test matches against Australia. Might not open the innings. Virat Kohli might want to give KL Rahul and Murli Vijay another chance. But a lot of haphazardness around the Indian opening. What that has led to is the middle order requiring to consolidate every time they have come to bat. And they have done very well there as well. You know what Virat Kohli has been up to. We know what Chiteshwar Pujara has been up to. And then there's a story about the Indian lower order. But moving on to the second half of the innings, Shruti, what is your take on that?
Well, Samir, if there were any visible chinks in India's armour, like their opening pair, the second innings should see those reduce. Good individual scores, good partnerships, tight, balanced bowling, alert fielding, it'll all be there. In fact, if for any reason the lower order need to contribute, they'll do as nicely as they've done all season. So a good, strong second half for India. And I just wish to add, the strength comes from the fact Virat Kohli will assess what is happening and be quick on his feet to make changes. He won't shy away from it.
Virat Kohli and shying away from things are poles apart at this stage of his career, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. And that has been the case with his batting as well. He has that double century in four successive series, the only batsman in Test cricket history to do that. And I think he will be gunning for that fifth one somewhere in this series. And even better would be if he does that in the first Test match in Pune. Well, we obviously don't know what the pitch is going to be looking like, whether it would be as flat as some of the surfaces that have been on display. But apart from that, it's also the middle order and the lower middle order that has contributed to India's success in recent times, and which is why I would be very surprised if the Australian bowling can make those consistent holes in the Indian batting. Just to give you a statistic, we spoke about Kohli, we spoke about how Pujara has been doing very well. But look at India's number 6, number 7, and number 8, which usually is Ashwin, Saha, and Jadeja in whatever order. Sometimes it's Ashwin batting at number 6, and there have been occasions when Saha has also come in at number 6, as we saw against Bangladesh. But look at their averages in the last 2 years, starting from January 1st to 2015. They average 33, 37, and 35 respectively. And if you reduce that period to starting from January 1st, 2016, Ashwin averages 43, Jadeja averages 45, and Saha has a whopping average of 52 down the order.
Wow.
So when you have those kind of runs, we're talking about almost 140 runs between number 6, number 7, and number 8 regularly. When you have those kind of runs, it's very difficult for the opposition bowling who are on tour. Speaking of the opposition, what kind of a threat do the Aussies pose going into this first Test match, Shruti?
I just think Australia posed to be more of a challenge than a threat. We should see them fight this through. They're not a team that will give up. In fact, it's similar to what you said in our preview for this series, that you would not underestimate a team like Australia. And looking at their cards, I wouldn't either.
Oh, you can never underestimate a side that has the likes of David Warner, Stephen Smith, Josh Hazelwood, Mitchell Stark. They're the four of the classiest Test cricketers that you would find in today's day and age. David Warner did not have a great series in India the last time he was there, so he will want to make amends there. Stephen Smith, it was that series in 2012-13 when the turnaround came for him in Test cricket. He scored a 90 in one of the innings, and then he went on to improve his average in Test match cricket to the extent that it's right now at more than 60. Probably the only current batsman who has played a substantial number of Test matches and has that average over 60 in Test match cricket. Shaun Marsh, I didn't speak about Shaun Marsh earlier, but he has had a good time in Sri Lanka. He hasn't played in India before, but and he's not played in India in Test matches before. But he has a good time. He has had a good time in Sri Lanka, scoring nearly 400 runs in a 3 Test match series. And well, between the three of them, I think they should be up to something good for the Australian batting. Shruti, apart from all this, what do you think will differentiate the two teams, India and Australia?
Sunir, it's very clear for me it's consistency. Australia will show promise with the bat in both innings, but following it through will be tough. The same goes for their bowling too. It's their hesitance that could get the better of them. They will need to tinker with their strategies, as it appears to me that Stephen Smith will try and implement multiple plans at the same time. A little calm, a little reflection could see Australia give India a run for their money.
The point about Stephen Smith is an interesting one because his captaincy has been under the scanner for some time. We saw what happened in the series in Sri Lanka where Australia lost 3-0, which was which is put down to Australia's lack of experience in Asian conditions. They have struggled in recent times. But when that series loss against South Africa came back home, Australia fell 2-0 behind. There was a radical change in the entire squad. But there was also a talk about Stephen Smith's captaincy and how that has affected the Australian team to an extent. There was a talk about how he handles spin bowling, especially Nathan Lyon. But we will have to see how that goes about in a series in India, which is never the easiest for most captains, and more so for someone who's been under that scanner. So that will be an interesting watch going into this first Test match in Pune. What will also be interesting, Shruti, is what is your call for this game? How do you think this game will be headed?
Yes, this doesn't seem to be an easy match for India. Australia won't just disintegrate. It's still Taro advantage India for me, but expect Australia to compete. Now, Sunil, who do you go with?
Well, I always am a little averse to making predictions. India are favorites in this series. India are favorites going into the test match. There is no one who would probably say that that's not the case. But you have to look at the conditions. You have to look at the pitch, and we have no idea right now what the pitch is like 2 days before the test match. And if the pitch is anywhere close to what it was in that test match against Bangladesh, Australia will give themselves a good chance of drawing the match, if not winning it, because flat surfaces is where the likes of Stark and Hazelwood come into their own. I think they more or less named their playing 11, where Mitchell Marsh is going to be the third bowler, third seam bowler, and they're going to be playing two spinners, which tells me that the pitch might not be as flat as that one again in Hyderabad against Bangladesh. It could be a case of a surface which is more spin friendly, in which case India should start as favourites for sure, Shruti.
So Sunir says if it's a spin-friendly track, India is favourites. I say India is favourites overall with Australia to compete. So that's it from us. As usual, please do subscribe to our channel and do check out our new website, worldcricketchat.com. And one last request, do follow us on Twitter at worldcrickchat. Thank you. Bye-bye.